It is the continuation of our talk last time on what is happening in Monument. Uh, I asked Salim, and he was more than gracious on a short notice, really, a week notice, 5 days notice, to uh, come and give this talk. His talk, as you see, is nature and environmental intervention in Islam. I mean, it's a very profound subject. And I had talked to him earlier, I mean, many months ago, and I was interested in the Adobe and other architecture in the third world countries. Um, there were no fans and there were no air conditioner, and some of the homes that we built stay cool. So much so that in Agra Fort, Agra is the place where the Taj Mahal is. Agra Fort, I was there many, many years ago. They had pools of water, not functioning now, but at one time, and they were just about 8 or 10 inches deep. And they were strategically placed in such a way that when the wind came, it cooled not only the place, but also the water, that they will have ice in the summer. Unbelievable. But they were able to do that. So this has been always a very intriguing subject, and I'm so glad that Salim Al-Wazani, our speakers here today, I will just take a brief moment to introduce him. Actually, it will take me a long time to introduce him properly because he has accomplished so much, really. Yeah. He's currently a professor of architecture and environmental design at Bowling Green State University. Um, um, he has served in the past as program director, department chair, and acting dean at various universities. Um, he has almost 102 scholarly items, meaning abstracts and papers and grants, chapters, book chapters to his credit. Um, he chaired conferences, evaluated papers and proposals, and reviewed for an AAB accreditation. I don't know what that means.
National Architectural Accrediting Board.
Okay, National
Architectural
Architectural
Accreditation Board, actually, yeah.
A reviewer for that. And he was also a Fulbright Aalto University Distinguished Chair in architecture in 2012 and 13 in Finland, and a U.S. Fulbright Scholar to the University of Bahrain in 2001 and 2002. He has been internationally known, and he has lectured internationally. And it is really a pleasure and honor for me to welcome Salim again. And if you keep obliging me on a short notice, you will keep doing it, believe me. So please welcome Salim Al-Wazani.
Thank you, Dr. Amjad. And yes, you called me, and I jumped on the task. And hopefully next time, when I give me one more day, to get things going. I'm just kidding here, just trying to open things
I
up.
wasn't.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Our topic today, as you see, I'm not sure anybody can do justice when we come to talk about the environment and sustainability. The idea of sustainability, as you probably by now know, it is very wide, very interdisciplinary. It's like the computer science, it's a computer, each organization, each business, each school, it has something to do with computer, right? These days we have to know these things. So our life, sustainably do with our life in all sense of the word, in everything. It's been there forever since day one when we created, but we discovered it or crystallized it more and more with time. So I'm talking about nature, and this is a big word about nature, and hopefully what we can do. But the idea of intervention means or indicates what we can do, how much we can do there. So that is in a nutshell what that is. First, I'm going to start a little bit with some aspects of how Islam in theology-wise, really deals with the environment in general. And I really like this book. Actually, it is a journal article, but I found it very profound in terms of identifying certain aspect of sustainability in Islam. So there is 4 aspects there. You can see them listed. The idea of invisible environments. So the key word here is obviously about the environment. The key here is basically is about God, the unity. So there's unity here, there's unity there. You have the idea of caliphate or khilafah in Arabic, as you all know. See what khilafah means and how it relates to the idea of taking care of the environment and people and human existence, order in the environment. In other words, this is a little bit like a way of thinking about just a second. There must be some way, some structure for life in order for us to be able to understand how this life is going on. So with that, I would like to start with, I think I am maybe, did I jump? Oh, I guess. Yeah. Back. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm going forward. Here, the environment. So Islam considers the environment as indivisible unit. Everything in life, in existence, is sort of relate to each other, essentially. So that is the idea behind it. And what that means, it is the idea of, this is in you, but we'll master it in a few minutes. Okay. So essentially, between a human and the environment and universe. Human, we know what a human is, us. The environment is, we think of the environment is the earth, but actually universe is much beyond. We know that. We just drop in the bucket in terms of the universe. So the idea of Islam about that is everything is one, as indivisible. Divine unity, now we're talking about God, not about the environment. And essentially, we know the oneness of God is very paramount in Islam. And wherever you look, you see God. I guess in Arabic, I don't recall exactly the surah, but I guess maybe Dr. Abdul Wahab might help me on that one. Whenever you turn your head anywhere, you see God. Say that again. Imagine that. That is the word. Yeah, that is the piece I am after. Okay. So God is omnipresent everywhere. You can't miss from his creation, obviously. And eventually, we're talking about nature, we're talking about humans. We repeated this again, but in different direction now. At the end of the day, we have to have a balance in the universe. So that is, and here we have the caliphate. The caliphate is essentially, we are trustees on earth. That is the idea, what Khilafah is. You are the trustee. You are given the trust to take care of this creation. So this is the idea of Khilafah. So, and we are all Khalifas. All of us, each one of us is Khalifa. You know that over the years and so on. We are responsible to take care of ourselves, our families, if our communities, of the nature, and so on and so forth. So this is another tenet in Islam, obviously, that lays on our shoulder the responsibility of, hey, you just have to take care of the environment around you. Order in the environment. Darwin, you could read that. Darwin, a leading figure in the theory of progressive evaluation, I think a lot of us heard about him, presents the existence of order in nature as the best reason to prove the existence of God. The environment is an exquisite and extraordinary exhibition of the architect of the universe and the realm of creativity and his appearance. Yeah, in other words, there is the environment given to us. If we think about it, we have to realize there is something, there is some framework put there, some structure. That structure is dedicated by some power. And that's the idea behind it. I'm going to shift now from theology into, I think you heard about United Nations definitely did good job over the years for a long time. In about 2015 in Paris, they came to the point where they're going to articulate some ideas about what this thing called environment, how we take care of it, how we sustain our lives. So what I'm going to be doing here is telling you about just one aspect of that program, the United Nations program. I am telling you that in a sense that is good to know on one hand, the depth and the scope of these problems we encounter or responsibilities you have to take care of. That's one. More important is we reflect on it and look at it as countries, as groups, as individuals, as if I'm saying how this relate to us, to our Islamic Center of Greater Toledo, our thinking as a unit. There is good number of slides. I'm going to go very quick because of the time, but I'm going to give some hints about or some question about where we stand on it, or do some explanation about those objectives. There is 17 goals established, and those 17 goals I'm going to show you quick. And these 17 goals are translated into about 167 tasks, if you will, or sub-objectives, if you will. Those 167 has to be done supposedly by 2030, which a lot of people think we always behind, you know that. So this is that. This is the point is to look at this, what me as Muslim or citizen relate to it in terms of me as a person, in terms of me as a person in the family, me in terms of person in this group or what have you. So this is actually what I just said here in a way. Maybe this is better actually to put it at the end of the discussion today. So, but I'm going to alert you. If we have more time, probably we'll touch on something like that. But this is what I try to tell you, how, these objectives. Let's say objective number one, no poverty. That's what they said. We need to take care of people. We will not have poor people. That is the idea. Do we as Muslims, how we think about it? What the attitude of Islam about that? In a theological sense, in practical sense, and things of this nature. Okay. And so on and so forth, obviously. With that, this is no poverty. This is goal number one. And here, I want to stop something here, we start talking about social, about humanistic concept, poverty. And what that really, how this relate to the mud construction that Dr. Amjad mentioned, right? So I want to make a distinction here. Sustainability in general, and I bet probably you read it here or there, is not only about buildings and cities, not only about light and sun and heat, which we supposed to take care of these things. It's not about pollution only. These are all what I just mentioned after come under the idea of environmental sustainability. But we have the social sustainability and we have the economic sustainability. Those are the three branches of sustainability. So the United Nations looking at life, actually this model, which we saw just a second ago, it's really very nice, good blueprint for people, not only people, even countries to look at it and as a reference for them for the development of a country or a city or what have you. So essentially that. And that's why I just stopped here to you, because poverty, is not about heat. It's not about light, right? So, okay, to end poverty in all its forms, everywhere by 2030. Yeah, that's what, 6 years from now, right? Makes sense. You know, we are behind. We are behind, you know. So, and this is just a shot, follow that goal, okay? So, donate. More than 700 million people still live in extreme poverty. Question: how many of those 700 live in the Islamic world? This is where we need to think about. I don't know. Maybe 300, maybe 600, I don't know. So this is the way, what I mean by reflection. This is why bringing this and saying, look, we need to relate to this. There is some scheme there that we can take advantage of. We can look into ourselves and see where we stand and how we can go about it. Zero hunger. Food security, nutrition, sustainable agriculture. Lovely word. Okay. So 1/3 of the world's food is wasted. Let's close your eye, remember, and between you and yourself, you say, how many of my food I throw away? Maybe none, but we all do, right? So, yet that number of 821,000,000 people are undernourished. That doesn't make sense. Some people throw food, 1/3 of the whole world consumption of food is thrown away, and we have people who are hungry. Again, how many of those in the Islamic world? Obviously, this is about three. I think maybe I am missing something here, but okay, this is number 2, 3. This is number 3, correct. This is about obviously health, essentially about health, right? Again, vaccination resulted in this and that, a measles death between this and those years and so on. Vaccinate your family. I mean, this is like, remember, these just sort of catching a phrase. It's not meant to be inclusive. Just catching phrase to say, hey, we need to do something about the health. Okay. quality. Education. I mean, I think, theologically speaking, we know how education stands in the Islamic theology, right? Stop, number one. The first word which we know about the Quran was Iqra, means we're talking about knowledge and reading and so on and so forth. Again, here there's, look at this number, how many millions really lack even proficiency in reading and mathematics. And again, look, how is it in Pakistan? How is it in Egypt? How is it in Palestine? It's good to look into that and see where we stand on it. I'm going to go a little bit faster because you got the idea here. Okay? So there's those 17 goals, explain them and reflect a little bit on them, and the rest, you understand the gist of and the intent of that. So I'm going to go a bit faster in order to catch up. If we have time, we'll come back and talk about it. 1 of 3 women has experienced physical and or sexual violence. Wow, that's really amazing. It's unfortunate. Safe water. 40% of the world. Excuse me. Yeah. Here. And then we have affordable clean energy. That is sustainable energy. Basically, it is by passive means through, say, wind and the sun. The energy that we can take without spending energy on getting the energy. This is obviously still about the energy, and the 3 million people still lack clean cooking and so on. Decent work, economic growth. Again, remember what we talk about. We're talking about economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. That is the gist of this scheme. One-fifth of the young people not in education, employment, or training. They don't do nothing. Wow. Infrastructure, inclusive, sustainable industrialization, foster innovation. Means this is what we lack, or we have or lack. Roads, water, sanitation, electricity remain scarce in many countries. Cities and communities, this will relate to that. It's about design and planning of the cities in a good way to be sustainable. This is more into really environmental, the type of environmental, means the space and place. That's what it is. And obviously we know the idea of walking and biking and so on is one part of how to design neighborhoods, cities, and so on and so forth these days. Very well known. It's just one little thing to connect us with the big concept. That's the idea. The idea of plastics, glass, and so on. We know the problem of the plastics in particular. We heard about the emission and carbon dioxide, which all over. It is a way. It is just one system to measure the idea of how global warming is really affecting our planet. Below the water, above the ground. This is below the water, means everything about fish, water, oceans, and so on. life only at sustainable manage forest, combat deforestation, halt and reserve, like we all hear about the Amazonia area in Brazil, how things happening there. They're really clearing a lot, and a lot of authorities established that Brazil or the Amazon area actually is very, very crucial to the whole world, is stabilizing the whole world because of the level of effect on alleviating the damage to the environment, because, green and so on. Okay, plants, of course, place justice. Oh, this is a very big word. This looks like about, hey, let's ask a question. Anybody knows how to relate to this to Egypt? Oh, I'm not picking on you, by the way. Okay, or Pakistan, or Syria, or Iran. We're talking about regimes here, right? I mean, we don't want to get there, yeah. We don't finish. So this is that. Partnership, you have to have a partner in order to do good things. Okay, so this is a very quick thing. Talking examples of Islamic sustainable techniques. It was a very big thing, and then when I was putting this together, how I'm going to do this in such a way not to look too academic, to be a bit practical, people relate to it. So essentially, what I did, I just have like 3-4 slides to see how Muslims did their buildings and places. Like the one example, Amjad, you mentioned about. It is not here, but similar to it. So here we're talking about the courtyard. Everybody knows about the courtyard. I mean, generally speaking. Courtyard in Islamic architecture, historically speaking, it proved to be very good. A courtyard, and obviously around it, there's the buildings or the rooms and what have you. The courtyard usually have plants in it. Courtyard has water and so on and so forth. So what is happening here is that these are just advantage of the courtyard. And this is the courtyard section. I know I don't anticipate everybody can necessarily should read this in very detail, because this is architectural language, but this is section in a building, and there is an area open here, and there's the part of building, and that's where people live, and so on and so forth. And this is the water you're talking about. I'm just here. This is water. The water helps definitely the breeze of the wind, help circulate the air, obviously, and the air will be cooled, and so on and so forth. But there is much more into it. The idea of shading, very simple idea of shading. We all relate to it. We all probably in your home, you look at your trees are. Trees could be put in such a way next to the building that could really, ideally, if I can say that word, to give the shade or not. Give the shade in certain time of the year, no shade, especially those trees which shed their leaves, right? There's type of trees that shed their leaves, and those trees are good because when you put them there, they are green in the summer, they are gone in the winter, they open, then if there's any sun, it comes in. All those kind of things, everybody knows about it, but it's been figured out in the Islamic architecture. Shading, ventilation, taking care of humidity, and so on and so forth. Mashrabiyya, this is Egypt. This is in Egypt, big time. But not only in Egypt, in different countries. I think maybe in Pakistan, do you have that? That just a window with some element on it where block the harsh sun coming in through, but at the same time, it gives chance for some light to come in and so on. There's element of privacy in it because
subdued light. The light is subdued, they come through.
Right.
The principle is the same as we have outdoor areas with beams, without the roof, but the beams.
Right.
The sun.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely, that is also, and what you're talking about could have some sort of of plants on it or what have you, then things will be even much better. Plants, crawling plants on top of that shed or what have you. Yeah, so these are ideas. Adequate gives the daylight. This is let me just talk about Mashrabiyah here. So what we have here, excuse me, basically what we have here, this is the wall of the building. Let's say this is the house, and this is the window. And what you have here, like this ledge, and there is like pottery. In Egypt, what you say, the pottery, the water? Gardel? Jarrah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think Jarrah is real. For Palestine, we call it Zir for some reason. I don't know if Dr. Zir, right? Yeah. So, and basically have water in it, and it has water in it. And obviously, the air goes through it, and there's exchange of heat. I don't want to go through how heat transfer. There's theories for that, right? And at the end, when the wind goes in, it's really more cool, and so on and so forth. Very simple idea in this case in particular. This is more of direct Mashrabiyah. This is more of elaboration. There's a variety of ways to do that. Mind-boggling. So next, this is basically in, and I have to remind everybody, there's resources, I quoted them, and I even did that here. So most of the work you see here is from sources. It's not mine, all right? It just, the ideas, how put them together is me, but this is the sources. So again, here, this is one tower. You could see the towers, obvious. And eventually this is like a cross section in it. And again, this is one virgin, only one out of many. This is in Iran, this is in the Gulf areas, Pakistan has it, and other places has it, But the idea is look at this. This is the ground. There is an opening. Wind comes in, goes in, there's water here. This is evaporation. This is Iranian evaporation. This does not exist as much, probably not even in the Arab world, that element of water. So what happened here, there comes, interact with the water, there's exchange of heat, goes up and cools this area. And once you cool this area, the air is used. When it is used, it'll be hot. It goes up and flown up out of the building. Yeah. I mean, Iran has a phenomenal job on how to bring the water into the wind towers. Yeah. This is new. This is not historic. This is, Annan, I mentioned this to you yesterday, remember? Yeah. Okay. So this is about Cambridge, Massachusetts, Cambridge, England Mosque. And there's a guy there who happened to convert to Islam in the 1980s, and he led movement and so on, and he established this mosque, and this is a center. It's an amazing center, in amazing terms of design, in terms of concept. His concept is that this place, yes, is for Muslim, but for everybody also. How nice. I would say probably there's a programming for that. What does it mean to bring people in? And then what they did is, okay, they look at this inspiration. A clean oasis within a grove of trees remind us with the Middle East, the desert. These are design concept. That's how architects think. Have to have a concept to tie your hat, say, or just to hang your hat on it while you are talking about your design. So that is that. And again, the timber, it's old timber. Timber, we know it's more natural material. Then there is the light from the top, see that? Then we have obviously the idea, and look, there's a garden, there's portico, there's atrium. The garden, you could see there, you could see how the garden come. Then, in other words, there's precision. There's transition from one thing to the other to the third and so on. And this is established in Islamic architecture, especially in Andalusia, So that. And not only that, they brought idea of Islam and the idea of, in England, how they do architecture, which is very fascinating. That means how Muslims and Islam can embrace and look into others and bring the good things in them. And that's a really neat idea about that. Okay. Here, I'm going to shift around with the next few minutes to talk about you give me a second. Looks familiar, right? This is us. This is work of a student. My student, they are juniors, like the fifth semester. They're still not there. Fifth semester, they have to graduate on the 8th, as you know. 8th means like 4 weeks, 4 years, and so on. So this is one. And this problem was given to students in fall 2020, and coordinated was, I think, our colleague Hussein Shawshar was there, and the Dr. Who was the president then? Nadia. Yeah. So and and Dave was there. So anyhow, you remember that's the time when we were in the middle of COVID. So it was really funny. I talked to Hussein long before even the semester to start, and we got to start, then everything online and so on and so forth. And I have to come here to look into the ground myself. Students couldn't come because, everybody out, and some students came, they look into our gate and they said the sign, no trespassing or what have you. They got scared, so you should do something about it. Anyhow, the point, simple. It's just about affordable housing. It was the idea is for the Islamic Center. It was, remember, this academic exercise. I'm not talking about politics here. I don't care because this is an academic exercise, right? People like it, people don't like it, that's their business, right? Of course, design is design, and in design studio, we have different things we have to do, and we did. There's something called a program, means exactly what spaces you want. You want a kitchen, or you want a garden, you want this, that's a program, right? Then you have to look into the site, understand it in all its detail, right? And that's that. Then, more important actually, to have an idea to hang your hat on as the idea which we see for. So each student really have an idea. And that's where I start thinking into Islamic architecture and non-Islamic architecture. So that's what happened here. What you see here is nothing more than one of the students finished their work. This is analysis. You could see the word analysis. This is not design. It means what is there, how we understand it. And obviously part of that is sustainability. And that's why I bring it here, So how we can really do some design with some sustainable feature in it. And that's what happened. So this is just one student. And they look into a variety of things. They look into other case studies, like what happened in the past, something like that. See these case studies. And now the idea starts coming on board, right? What you see here. essentially. So this, I'll take you here. You know, this is the our mosque. This is the existing building here. It is an angle, as you know. And so they took on this Shider Road, isn't it? Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, I think Shider Road, right? And this guy had that loop thing idea and put their design here and so on. And obviously, you could see there's different way of looking at it from different direction. There is elevations here where you cut through the site to see what you see, that what elevation means. What's happening here? It's frozen. That's not good. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Do you have the phone number of the student?
No, yeah, I think it happens once in a while. Yeah. If you want, you could go into that, click on it, see again, and you'll see the other one open. Just go. Okay. Let me see here. I think go to here to Henry. Here. Yeah, click on. It's not coming because why not you close it, please? Yeah. Okay. Let me just deal with that.
This one too.
Yeah. Maybe we might need it. I'm saying presentation. Where did it go? Yeah, this is the folder, but that is, I'll tell you what this is. Is this connected with the internet? Let me,
No.
not? Okay, let's connect if we can, okay? That's guest, yeah. Connect. You have to allow, yeah, PC to do other PCs. No, well, you know. Yeah, now it's connected, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not fluent, huh? Okay. Let me see here. Oh, no. I'm not going to get it there because I couldn't do that.
What is that?
No, that's not it because I didn't put it there. It was in different place. Okay. Give me a second. CGT. CGT and type, correct? We are in type. Emails, meeting, strategic initiative, here. Okay, got it here. All right, let me see here. I want to go to Ashley. Okay, here. That's another one. Okay, here we go. I think it is about it's not. Yeah, I mean, this is programming. You could see here probably just it's small, but it's about workability and about nature and so on and so forth. Then Okay, here we go. See, again, you could see the preliminary design and things of this nature. They look into the site in different ways, different angles. This is what we call programming on this side here, right? And this. This is the scheme for this fellow. And you could see the study about sun, the sun movement and things of this nature and how it affect the light and the heat and so on and so forth. And this is obviously the scheme for this fellow here, essentially. This is our building where we are, and on the side on the north, obviously, is what you see there. Let me see if I can get. This is just really more in-depth kind of designs. I'm trying to give. This is really a very neat diagram to show the imagination of student about the movement and the connection between the Islamic center, the core, the original, and what is happening here. There's a lot of thought here, for sure. And this is obviously basically models. They did some model and took pictures for them. Henry, go to Henry, quick. Okay. Again, you could see the concept here with this fellow. This is a small thing here where the cursor is the building which we are in. And then this is the location of the site of the development per se, or the solution, if you will. And this is sort of buffer zone, if you will. So he was thinking about it in that sense. And the idea of nature is part of it. Actually, we were not sure what's going on here. Anybody knows what that is, guys? We have that on site. It's still there. Because at the time, we couldn't get into the site, everybody's, But there is like small pushy area in north here. So I was wondering what was that? Yes, in the middle.
Yeah, that's where the farmer puts the rocks that come up from the field.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, again, we really struggle with some aspects because remember, COVID and nobody want to walk or they want to talk to anybody, so we did our best to get things going there. And actually, I received drawings from Hussein at the time. There you have a set of drawings and so on. And I believe I took them. I don't know if he sent them to me PDF or I did the PDF, but eventually we had really some information. Yeah, basic information, which was good, was very good. Always lack some information, we know that. So this is the concept of this guy. You see that? It's very just one loop and on two sides, and each student has their concept, and they have even rationale, philosophical rationale, relate to the site in certain way, relate to the idea. I mean, there is one person I might be able to show it to you, who took the idea, Islamic idea, excuse me, the idea of direction towards Mecca is one. The idea of geometry, Islamic geometry and architecture and so on, and they put it on and so on. Still doing good. I guess a few minutes, I am almost done here. But I thought this is really good because you all relate to that. This is model. student put the model together in their hand. So it's a real model, physical. So I took a picture for it and so on. Maybe let's look at that Ben. Okay. Again, these are the studies. Everybody, you notice, start with site design, site analysis, and so on. Research, site analysis. Let me see what I'm looking for. This is programming studies. Here, you could see that, very obvious, right? The geometry, the Islamic geometry. So he's inspired by that idea. And we talked about it. Of course, they don't know much about it. They read, we helped them, we talked to them. And look at that, even the inspiration and form, how, just his thinking about what he's taken from here and what could he do by it here and so on and so forth. Voila. So actually, this is big, huge plaza. You could see that in the middle. And the residences are around, and residences also here and there. So it's all, it's inspired by this idea of geometry in Islamic architecture and so on. So that's that. Maybe I am, who I didn't see. I think I've seen everybody, but no, here, Imran. Yeah, it has a problem, technically speaking. So what you see dark is not coming for some reason, but it was there. But it's good to have a sense of another person's work. Yeah, you could see how, very, very clear here, the intent of this guy is to say, hey, this is the area and that's the center of my design, essentially. And there you could see the studies about sustainability studies, light, the light and the shade and things of this nature. The rest is that. And I'm now going to go here and I mean, Amjad, you give me the signal. Still, we have a good minute, right?
We have 2 more minutes.
4 minutes. Okay. I think as I said early on when we started this, and we skipped a lot of this, I think from my perspective, talking about, and this is the question here about how do Islamic teaching ethics and practices interface with each of the UN Sustainable Development. And here we said teaching and practices, programs, what we do in architecture or in economy or what have you. So this is the idea here. I wanted to... Okay. The idea here is the assumption, as you could see here, the assumption is that we have a scheme, United Nations scheme, we already know that, established, very well studied, coined, everybody knows about it. Great. I mean, it looks to me, maybe what we need to do, maybe that's academic thing, but still also general, what we need to do is to look into our experiences, the theology of Islam, and so on and so forth, to come up with some sort of a system that, not necessarily to negate this at all, it's just a system that says something about us, that is indigenous from us. That is the idea. And you could start in terms of how to. We could start actually with these 17 goals. Then we flesh each one of them and say, hey, in poverty, where do we stand? What does the theology of Islam say about it? What programs are there during history? What do we have now? Then we have some understanding about how we relate to that. Then we relate to the second, how we relate to the goal number 3. Then at the end, we have good understanding, comprehensive understanding about us as Muslims in general. What is our vision and promised contribution to our community and to the world? Essentially that. Of course, this is a very loaded question, frankly, and it needs, when United Nations did this, they did over years, and here's a lot of money and things, and the people get together and then they issue this. So hopefully that will be, probably it looks like a little bit a very big goal or very big mission, vision, excuse me. Yeah, it is very big, but it could be done from my perspective. Actually, I could talk about this forever, but I think I definitely appreciate very much your attention, and thank you again. And I am willing to what you do.
Well, thank you, Salim.
Sure, anytime.
There were a lot of dots scattered around, and he connected them so beautifully. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you, appreciate it.
At least that's what I had in mind, to have some kind of a conversation, take pride in our heritage, and to see if there are any solutions. Yeah. No, you're not going to ask your teacher any questions. He's your student, right?
Yeah.
And I understand he's a brilliant student. So, we're going to make some comments. You stood up.
Oh, yes.
You forgot that you stood?
No. I'd like to.
Did he do well academically? Yeah. Introduce yourself. For people who don't know you, will know who you are.
My name is Ahmed Shihab.
Is it on? Hold on. Yeah.
Speak up a little.
Just imagine you're fighting.
I found that
Closer.
affordable senior community housing to be interesting, but I don't know how this can be achieved. So it's a topic that to be interesting if we can dig deep into it.
The project was dependent on state funding. And unfortunately, because of many circumstances, some desirable, some undesirable, that did not go through. So we are no further than we were. But this is for the future.
Thank you very much. What I was going to add. I think I'll just make a comment. I think the problem is, a lack of education. And that's not meaning that not too many people go to colleges, but those who do go to colleges. And then there is the difference. There are more than 50% people don't even believe that there is anything like an environmental crisis. How can you talk to them? There's no way you can convince them. But coming back to the Muslim countries, I think we had a very good opportunity. Most of our countries got freedom in the last 75 years. When all the new things were coming along. But as usual, we fight. We fight with each other. We fight within the country. We fight on the borders. Any time, given time in the history, if you look around, to see which country is at war with the Muslim country is war in. How much time? how much time gets wasted, how much money gets wasted, and whatever little money that we gather, we buy weapons from West, I mean, and, but then look at the knowledge, coming back to the Quran, coming back to the knowledge, I'm one of those guys who really look into the Quran from a practical standpoint. We resonate between communism and capitalism. Sorry, socialism. We, the Muslims, never understood the economic system of Quran. I have read several books from very good authors, very well-known authors. I was amazed that they could have really put the dots together. And I think it's maybe a tragedy, maybe that was the God's design. The Quran was not written like a textbook. And I cannot say that I know more than Allah. Obviously I don't. Maazallah. But I think that has created issue. If you put the tasrif or ayat, dots connect the dots. There's a beautiful system there, And we touch upon those little faults here and there and everywhere. But to put it together as a system, that's where we fail, I think part of the problem is, our economists, very well educated, mostly in the West, they know nothing about Quran. And then the mullah, the clerics, they know some of the Quran, but then they don't know the economy.